Hey friends, welcome back to Mustard Seed Homesteading. If you're new to my channel, my name is Megan and I'm really glad that you're here. What I do on my channel is give weekly garden tours, and I also share other videos in between. But what I want to focus on today is continuing to harvest because we haven't hit a frost yet. And I also want to really emphasize and show you how I reorganize my garden to make my life a lot more easier. Plus, we've also planted more starts in the beds. So let's get started. Okay friends, before we start with this bed and start harvesting and working our way down, I want to quickly give you an overview of how the entire garden has pathways to make my life easier. So this right here has always been here. All the beds, for the most part, I made sure that there was enough space. But for instance, over here, now I did show this the last tour, but I didn't really talk about it. In previous tours, all of my, well, not all of them, but a lot of tomato plants are right here. And so you can see that I cleaned them up. The only thing I'm gonna be leaving are these two 25-gallon bags. And then this one at the end, which is my elderberry tree. And if you can see, look at how open that space is. We finally did put our last bed in, and this is some of the plants that we recently planted together. But once these overwinter pepper plants are put in the garage and I have to bring them out next year, they're gonna not be here anymore. I made some space and a new home for them over here. Now, for the most part with the garden, all of these beds that we put in here, we made sure that they were spaced apart for me to be able to go in and through. But once I started adding more plants and then I wanted to expand my garden, that's when I started putting up these pallets, and then I got bucket and bag happy, as you can see. So now I want to show you what it is that I did over here to make my life easier as well. Now right here, I have a budget bucket video, so this has been here for probably about a year now, I think. And so with this, I made sure these had walking aisles in between, except for this little trellis part, although I could still walk through here. It's just a little tight. This one I couldn't. But each one has a walking aisle. So when I started to expand back here, I wanted to make sure that those also had walking aisles. So let me show you. So starting from the right, and we'll work our way to the left. So I have these two pallets that we're going to prop up just like this. And that's where I'm going to put these last 4 ceramic pots. And I have 4 ceramic pots over there as well that we're going to be placing on here. And then these bags that we recently planted together and filled are actually going to fit on here. And so then this pallet, these 2 pallets are completely done. And then what I decided to do was completely leave this for the overwinter pepper plants. So I will not be putting any bags or buckets on this. And then I'm always going to have a few bags of soil and compost up here so that I can put it around the garden when I need to. Now, with regards to the aisles that I was talking about, I made sure back here that we had a nice walking aisle so that way I can get in and through, because sometimes I get a little bag and bucket happy and pallet happy, as you can see, and it was making it really difficult for me to walk through. And then I just collected rocks on my property, and what I did was I tried to prop up the pallets as best as I could because of the sloping of the land. Now for me, I am a extremely organized person. I like order and I like things to be functional. And so when my brain starts going and I start to think of ideas, I can't not get it done. So I want to say about 2 weeks ago now, I went at it back here with the pallets and the rocks and putting all the bags, just so that I can, in my mind, all the bags and buckets are back here. And then those are all of my beds with maybe just a few bags on the ends. So that way I have everything completely organized and put together. Let me go do an aerial view of this whole section so that you can see it. So this helps a little bit to be able to see from up high everything put in its place. It just really makes my life a whole lot easier. So as you can see, I have 4 bags here. And then all of my beds are just equally spaced apart so I can go walk in and through them. And then I just made sure that all of my bags and my buckets, minus the ones that are right here in the middle, were on pallets. So that way I knew what was where and it was clustered together and not all over the place. So you guys, I hope this is helpful. I know for me, I love watching how people organize their gardens, and I know that everybody's backyard space or their property space is different. And so I know that, you know, my exact cookie cutter position may not work for everybody, but you know, sometimes watching this or, you know, looking at what other people do will spark an idea in your head, and then you'll think of your own idea in your garden space and come up with something creative that works for you. I just know for me in my garden, I need organizing, but I need it to be functional. And sometimes I do get really like bucket and bag happy, like I've said, and I'll just stick them everywhere. And then I'm like, man, I can't like walk through anywhere. So I did a major cleanup about 2 weeks ago. I showed last week, but because it got dark on me and it was super gray outside, I figured, you know what, let me walk through and explain things to everybody. And then maybe it'll help you if you're looking to redo or organize your garden. Okay friends, let's go ahead and start harvesting. But before we start to harvest this pepper plant and talk about it, or this pepper bed, I do want to mention down here real quick. So there wasn't a whole lot to harvest. I grabbed a couple of green beans, but I think a lot of the green bean plants, because we are having good temperatures, nothing in the 30s yet, but I think because it's dipping, a lot of the green bean plants, because it's dipping down to like 50s and some 40s, they're starting to die. So I will more than likely be pulling those out in the next week or so, and then putting in all the rest of these starts, because I still have a whole bunch of starts and I have a few in the garage that are growing too. I always have backups for my backups. It's always a good thing to do, because I'll show you later in the tour, someone, listen to me, a squirrel or something ate a couple of my broccoli plants. A lot of these are just my lemon and lime and my asparagus, so those are perennials. And then I was hoping to do it on camera today, but I don't think I'm gonna have time to get the last bit of ginger and turmeric. We did do our strawberries, so those are good. And I do have to plant my perennials, and the garlic, y'all, is doing so good over there. So I just wanted to quickly touch on that, but let's go ahead and harvest before we lose light again. All right, well, I was kind of checking these, and there's still so much cayenne peppers that are still green. So I'll be honest, I really don't know what to do here. I might actually have to look up recipes for cayennes that are just still green, because I mean, it's hard to see because of the leaves, but hopefully you guys can see all these. There's just a ton of peppers. So, and I know it's because it's getting cooler. Like, even though we haven't hit freezing temperatures, I know that they're not changing colors because it's still cool out. So, but look at all those peppers. There's just, even here, like there's just a ton here. So I don't know, you guys, I'm not gonna pick them off because I don't want to pick them off in case we have kind of a warm day and they change color for me. Unless I can pick them off and they change color in the house. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research this week, but we do have some poblano, so let's go ahead and harvest these. They're a little bit on the smaller side, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. We could probably leave this one, or maybe not. It came off on its own, guys. All right, we're gonna go on this side and see if there's any. You know, I actually have a feeling some of these are Anaheim. I'm gonna have to go through here because these plants just topple over each other. So I think these are actually the Anaheims, which I could probably wait for these to grow a little bit more. And these ones are the cayennes. So we'll have to wait a little bit more. And then look at, these are the little red bell babies. Oh, there's quite a bit on here. So I don't know, maybe what I'll do is hoop these when it gets colder out and see if maybe they'll grow underneath. This is an Anaheim, we'll grab that. I don't know, you guys, a lot of this stuff I'm just gonna be experimenting and seeing what works and what doesn't, because while I have grown peppers before, you know, sometimes it's nice to try different things to see how much you can kind of get away with growing in your climate. Now this I found, and I found another one. I don't know what happened here. I think the branch probably snapped, so I'm out 2 bell peppers, which is unfortunate. Look at this beauty. I didn't even know it was there. So beautiful. Okay, well, I do have quite a bit of bell peppers right here. And so, I don't know, I might even just hoop this bed up this week and just cover it, because we're still hitting 60s and 70s during the day, but we're dipping down to the 50s and the 60s. Oh, I see some Anaheims, or not Anaheims, I'm sorry. I see some hot habaneros. I could probably grab it from here. So let's grab these. Oh, and another one. You know what? I'm gonna take one of these off because I don't know if it's an Anaheim or a cayenne, and I'm gonna bite it and see if it is. Hold on. Oh, that's spicy. Oh yeah, that's really hot, y'all. So I don't know. That might be a cayenne pepper. They just seem like they're getting too big. Woo! That's spicy, guys. Okay, well, I don't see anything else. If my voice cracks, it's because I just ate a hot pepper. Whoo, my goodness, is that hot? Oh my goodness, look at this Anaheim. It's like the size of my hand. See, Anaheim chilies, I thought they would be hot, but like this is not hot. But that pepper I just ate looked like in Anaheim and it was hot. So I don't know, you guys. I'm not a pepper expert. Yeah, see, these are the red cayennes because this is the Azure Standard plant that I purchased. So these are cayennes. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure some things out here because it's a little bit confusing. They do look very similar when they're growing. Anaheim chilies and cayennes definitely do. It's when they change color that makes it, you know, look different from each other, but they're not changing color, and that's the problem. Onto the never-ending green beans. And there's actually a bit of green beans, and there's still buds. Now, I might have to take these down, which really, I don't want to. You guys, look at those. They're growing still. I'm so amazed. I really am. I know I repeat myself like every week, but it's crazy to me how much these keep growing. And there's some here too. It's gonna be hard to pull these out, but I really need to get my plants in because you saw those starts. They keep getting bigger every week and I need a home for them. And the marigolds are really showing off. I mean, they are gorgeous. Okay, let's see. Now my sinuses feel good. That hot pepper really cleared my nose up. Okay, well, these look like maybe they've been, this branch or leaf doesn't want to move. These look like they've been here a little while. Let's grab those though. Let's see. Oh, here's one. And then look at some more buds. But we'll grab this one and this one. And let's see if I can grab this one. And there's some in here too. These marigolds are like making it hard. I'll definitely have to figure out a different spot for them next year. But they're definitely worth planting. I planted all these marigolds from seed too. They're doing really good. Look at all those green beans. There's so many growing. I don't know, you guys. I just have a hard time letting go of something that's growing food. Look at these. They're just, and they're doing so well too. Look at those little baby ones. You see them? They're just doing so good. You see all the marigolds, aren't they so pretty? They're so beautiful. All right, there's a few over here. Let me see. It's so hard. I'm like hunching over water, mud, and flowers just to get my green beans. Okay, so there's an onion back here that they were growing from when I had onions in the spring. I so badly want to harvest and see if there's anything that comes of it. So I'm gonna grab it and see. I'm gonna try to figure out how to get over there though. It's hard with all these plants. All right, you guys, here's the onion plant. Let's see if there's anything. I don't expect there to be, but it'd be pretty cool if there was. It kind of feels like, oh my goodness, that's funny. Hold on. Look at that. Oh my goodness, you guys, look at that. There's like 3 onions in one. They're like little baby onions. What a fun surprise to be picking onions in November. They've been there all summer since last spring. I love surprises in the garden. How fun. All right, before we come over here and grab whatever green beans are over there, let's quickly look at all the snap peas that I have growing right here. So this one was from last week, and you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and harvest. So look at, that's our first snap pea for the season. That's really exciting. So actually I'm gonna eat this. Let's see, is there any bugs? No. Oh my gosh, you guys. Sorry, you probably hear me chewing. That is so good. It's so crispy and so delicious. Okay, look at that. There's more growing. They're so good. Oh my gosh. So what I love about sugar snap peas is they taste amazing fresh, but you can stir fry them with onions, garlic, your own seasoning, however you prefer. I mean, they're so good to eat, cooked or fresh. But we are getting quite a bit of buds. I mean, a lot of buds actually. This one is the Sugar Ann. I think Sugar Ann's doing like the best here because this is the one that's given me the first peas so far. Look at, now they're growing like a lot, which is really nice. So these are doing really well. And then these over here are my Oregon Giants, and they're doing good. You know, I will say snap peas in the past, they have kind of thrown me off because I'll see all this beautiful green and I won't see any snap peas for quite a while, and then all of a sudden a bunch of snap peas start to grow. So now these over here are the Oregon Giants, so we're starting to get flowers here. Let's see. We're starting to get flowers right here. If we can zoom in, you can see they're right there, and they're just all over the place. So I'm happy to see that, and they're growing nice and tall. So that's always good. So we got some right here. It's really nice. So I'm very happy that I took out the cucumbers when I did, and all of this is growing. Now the avalanche pea, you know, these aren't growing as much as the other ones. I also noticed that quite a bit of the seed, now it could be some bugs that are down here that are eating the seed. I've had to replant these quite a bit. I mean, they're growing, but they're not growing as tall and as fast as the other ones. Now, the funny thing is I'll say that, and then all of a sudden they'll start to grow, and watch these be the ones that give me the most sugar snap peas. So we'll see what happens. But we have 4 different varieties on each. So 2 over here and 2 over here. But so far so good, you guys. I think everything is looking great. Okay, look at the marigolds. They're everywhere. But let's go see if we have any green beans. Look at that, you guys. How beautiful this gold rush is. And there's still more buds. Oh my goodness. Right here, they're just... I feel like I'm just very repetitive every week. I'm just so surprised at how much this keeps growing. But let's just keep picking until I have to take them off. Good, there's one here. And there's one over here. And there's some Royal Burgundy as well. Now this one is completely dry. We'll definitely save seed from this. Okay, we'll grab this Royal Burgundy and this one. And these down here. Look at how pretty those are. So look, there's still some right over here. There's quite a bit still growing. So I'm just gonna let them keep going until I have to put the other plants in. Let's see if there's any contender in jades. I did see a couple. It's interesting that these drop their leaves. I'm sure you can see they're missing a lot of leaves. I noticed that they drop their leaves faster than the other ones, which is interesting to me. Oh, look at this one. How fun is that? These right here look so pretty. I'm gonna grab these. So the aroma of these flowers are just so pretty as I'm picking the green beans. It's just so lovely having that small in the garden. But look, and I want to show you if you can see all of those right here. I'm going to see if I can zoom in. There's a ton of green bean buds. Look at all those. There's like a ton of them. It's amazing to me that they just keep growing, because it is definitely getting colder. But you know, green beans have done that to me, where they literally keep growing all the way up until the frost. All right, friends, so I actually made the decision to overwinter this bed. I just don't have the heart to let these pepper plants go. These actually seem more mature and grown even than the first bed. But the reason I'm keeping the first bed is because there's a lot of peppers in there that I really, really, really like. But I was able to figure out, because I had mapped all of the starts, and so I had this bed mapped out for some starts that needed to get planted. But what I did was I figured out other spots because I had more pallets and bags, and because I had doubled the overwinter peppers in the 5-gallon bags, it allowed me to have space to put the plants that were gonna go in this bed into some other spots. So we're gonna overwinter this bed too, and we're gonna see what happens. I'm excited about it because, you guys, if I can overwinter this bed and keep these pepper plants well established, then I'm gonna have continuous peppers come first spring, and that way I don't have to keep, I mean, I'll still probably plant from seed some pepper plants, but this will help a ton with harvesting quicker than, you know, later in the summertime, because pepper plants do take a long time. I mean, I can start from seed way early so that I can start harvesting early into the spring or early summer, but, or not early spring, but probably late spring, early summer. But I'm gonna just try this out and see. It doesn't hurt. I have plenty of space to grow other stuff, so I'm just gonna use these 2 beds to see if it works. Now we do have some jalapenos over here. Look at how beautiful these are. Now this one is a bit short than the one on the end, but it packs a mighty punch because there's quite a bit of jalapenos here. I'll take this one too. And sometimes they grow short like this, but my understanding is when they have, you see, when they have these lines here, that means that they're really hot. That's what my mother-in-law said, so that's my assumption. So sometimes they'll grow short like this, and I'm assuming that this has got to be done because of the lines on here. They almost look like little stretch marks. But anyways, we'll harvest it. Now we do have quite a bit of these growing down here, but they're still small. This one we can harvest though, for sure. So nice to be able to come on this corner now and pick the peppers. This aisle's getting a little crazy and it's very muddy, but ever since I cleaned up, it's just been really nice. So this jalapeno plant, look at this. This is why I have a hard time letting this go, because pepper plants are technically perennial depending on what zone you live in. And this plant is huge. Look at this thing. Now, there is like a lot of small jalapenos. I'm not gonna grab them except for these little guys right here. These little red ones. Sometimes I've had that where they'll grow really small. My assumption is that they just didn't maybe get pollinated all the way. I don't know. Either way, it still does what it's supposed to. It's just not as big. So I think I'll leave the little ones, like the other little ones, and just wait since I'm not in a huge hurry. So, but it's pretty good. Now I could grab this one and this one. There is a lemon jalapeno from my overwinter pepper plant down there that we're gonna grab too when we get over there. Now there are some poblanos. It's definitely been the season for poblanos here. I don't know if I should take this one. Actually, I think I'll wait a little bit longer for this one. I think this is pretty good for this section. Oh, let me see if there's any mystery peppers. I wish I knew the name of this pepper, but I don't. So it's my mystery pepper. It's my mystery hot pepper. And there's more mystery hot peppers. and serranos. We'll grab these two. So let's take a quick peek at what's been going on over here. As you can see, everything is growing beautifully. We have a mix of chard, like different varieties of chard, and the majority of these are the early Jersey Wakefield cabbages. Now, a few didn't make it, so I stuck in a Waltham broccoli. And so that's what I mean about having backups for your backups. So when something either gets eaten or it just doesn't make it, I have a plant that I can put in there as a backup. Now, these peas are doing really, really well too. Those are the Sugar Magnolia snap peas. Those have been growing very beautifully. I don't see any buds yet, but they're growing good. And let's see the telephone snap peas. Look at how tall they get. They're already up here. That's crazy. Now, I will say these, in my experience, I didn't get any snap peas for quite a while. And then all of a sudden, they were everywhere. They were growing everywhere. So I'm not sure if it's going to be like that again, because I did plant them. Actually, I did plant them around this time, and then they just were crazy producing in the spring. So we'll see what happens. Now this bed is doing very well too. These are all of my cauliflower, my broccolis, as well as the, these are turnips, yes. Sometimes I forget what I plant on the edges here. And then I also threw in some cilantro too. So that's what you see right here, which I think because the parsnips just did not germinate at all, I'm gonna probably throw cilantro because I had gorgeous and a plethora of cilantro when I planted it here last year. So I think I'm gonna come out here and throw that in there. But this bed so far is doing really well. I did have to add some calendula in a couple of spots because I think the little roly-poly bugs in there in the soil ate them. So, but so far so good with everything else. Now you guys, those lettuce seeds that I put in there, sorry for the plane in the background, they never germinated. I don't know what happened because I planted seeds several times. So I just went ahead and I took some lettuce starts that I actually did not purposely grow. They just started to grow, and I put them in some soil for them to get larger. This one's looking kind of small here. And I just put them in here. So I'm just gonna let these grow in here and see what happens. And then so far, all the Brussels sprouts and the onions are looking really good in this bed. I'm gonna have to clean the leaves out, but they're doing so good. Now this bed I did plant since the last tour. And here's an example of what I mean when things either get bitten, is this right here. So this looks like something definitely ate it. Let me see if I can get a close up. It's kind of hard to see because of the straw that's in here. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. You see how that was bitten off? It's right here. So I don't know what bit it, but I'm gonna have to replace that. So that's why, like I said, I have backups for my backups. But for the most part in here is more Swiss chard as well as some cabbages, except for those 3 Brussels sprouts at the end, and then the telephone peas. And then, as I have said before, I do like to go around the edges and a little like around the squares and just pack in some other, like either onions or a companion plant. I haven't done that yet, but I do plan to. And then all the garlic is doing amazing. I cannot wait to harvest this garlic come spring. So if this is your first time watching, I just planted a couple weeks ago 444 cloves of garlic. Most of them are down in my green stalks, but I planted 9 in these squares right here because it said that the most you can plant is 9. And then I planted 5 in each of these squares. And then on the sides, I want to say I did 6 over here and either 5 or 6 over here. And this is kind of an experiment because I want to see how big the bulbs do with 9 per square versus maybe a 5 per square. Now what I should have done, and maybe I'll do next time, is do one where it's like 1 per square, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way to 9, and see how that does. Maybe I'll try that next year. And then I also placed some in the buckets. So like the larger buckets, I did 5, and then the smaller buckets, I did 3. And those are all looking really good too. Now, this is what I mean, again, about critters eating your stuff. I had all broccoli in here, you guys. They had beautiful leaves on them, completely eaten up. Now, I, again, don't know if this was a squirrel or not, or what, because I know the squirrels, look at, they just tore it out. Look at them. What a bunch of stinkers. I have to assume that it's either, I don't think they're birds. I'm pretty sure squirrels. Look, it's gone here and it's gone over here. Now, I did put dill in here, so you're gonna see like these little green, maybe you can't because of the straw, but I did put dill because they're a good companion plant for the broccoli. So I'll just have to replant these, but I will say during fall, winter, spring, maybe not so much winter, I do have difficulties with the squirrels. They do like to come and eat up my plants. Okay, so here is the overwinter pepper plants. This one I will wait on, but this one we can harvest. And we still have, wow, we still have quite a bit. Here's one, and there's one. Now, again, if I see temperatures dip really low, I'll just come out here and grab them. All right, so we do have a couple of poblanos that we can harvest. Here's one. And then here's a second one. Very nice. Now, these are all the jalapenos down here. Here is the gorgeous yellow one. I love these yellows. They're so pretty. Now, I did harvest a whole bunch last year, and I ended up freeze drying them and making a jalapeno powder just to kind of throw in, I don't know, whatever I want. So that's always fun. But I love the color. It's so, so pretty. Now, there are other jalapenos on here, and I could harvest these, but I'm just going to let them stay on here and see if they turn yellow. And then this is just like a normal green one. I'll probably just leave these on here for now too. All right, let's check out the back, and then that will complete our garden tour. So I did go ahead and plant all of these. So every single one of these are Vates kale. Now, my thinking behind this, because I love kale, not only is it fun to cook with or stir fry, but I freeze dry this and I make kale powder for various reasons. But my idea behind this is when these grow and they freeze, like if there's cold temperatures, I can just take the leaves off, and then, you know, hopefully there's no bugs on them, and then stick them in the freeze dryer, and now they're already frozen. So it's an idea. I'm just going to keep an eye on these during the cold winter season and do a lot of experimenting and testing. But these are finally all done. And then this week I will more than likely be harvesting this so that I can put the other kale, because I have Jacinto kale that I'm going to put in here either this week or next week. And then here's all the cauliflower and the broccoli that we planted. So I'm looking forward to these. Now these are new varieties, self-blanching cauliflower and Waltham broccoli. I've never grown them before, so I'm really looking forward to trying these. Now something I do want to point out, the mullein, I think I might try taking that out and putting it in a smaller pot and leaving it in the garage for next year. It's not a perennial, it's actually a biannual. But I'm going to try. I've never grown, this is the first time I've grown it. I have freeze dried a lot of it, but I'm going to try and do that this year. Now, the rest of these bags have a mix of green beans and the Martha F1 tomato plants. So I am more than likely going to be ripping these out soon as well. And I am going to overwinter a part of the Martha F1 tomato plant like I did last year when I got my first tomatoes. But let's see if there's any green beans to harvest. Now these look pretty dead, but surprisingly, there's still buds. So no green beans because these are too thin. So I'm gonna let those sit for a little bit longer. I'm thinking probably one more week. I'm gonna have to pull these out because I'm gonna need the space. And I really want to grow my cabbages and my broccoli and everything. Ooh, look at this one. Look at that one. Now, something I do want to point out is you always want to mulch your soil. I'm going to have to get some straw and cover that because you never want your soil exposed. I mean, you could, but it's, to me, in my experience and what I have seen in, you know, other videos and just people in their teaching, is that it's good to mulch because it keeps your soil healthy. It keeps it moist. It keeps it from, you know, getting hard and brittle, which you don't want. So I got to come up here and straw some spots. So I did go ahead and get more buckets. This is all freshly put together. Now, I will say we do have some jicama to harvest. You know what? Let's go ahead and harvest this because I think, as I trip on some rocks, I think we need to. So hold on. Oh, that's a big, oh my gosh, you guys, look at how big that is. Oh my gosh, it's huge. Look at this. It's like the size of my hand. I'm so happy. I love these. This is like the root crop of the summer because you can grow these. This has been growing since the summer. This is exciting. Okay, let's see the next one. Okay, there's 2 in here. I did put 2 to see if there'd be a difference. Hold on. Let's see. Okay. See, when they grow closer together, they're a little bit smaller. So let's see what we got here. Oh my goodness, these are good sizes. You guys, I'm so excited. Look at these. They're beautiful. Very, very excited about this. All right, we got more green beans here. Just grab whatever we see, you guys. Now, this is my overwinter Martha F1. Look, it's still growing. I don't know, it did really good overwintering, so I'm gonna try it again this year because like I said, I was able to get tomatoes from them. They were my first tomatoes for the summer. So let's see if we see any. Oh, there's one here. But I don't see, I see a lot of buds. It's probably because the weather's getting cooler, so it's not growing as fast. Maybe if we get another burst of warmth, maybe they'll grow a little bit faster. But either way, when I'm ready to put new plants in, I just take them out if I have to because I only have so much room. And no tomatoes, this one, but it's not red yet. Now this one is actually blushing. So I actually think I'm gonna take this because if it gets cold, I don't want it to get icky on me. Now what I plan to do, let me see if I can get better lighting, is to cut this part off and I'm gonna have this all planted in some soil so that I can keep it over the winter time like I did last year. And then I took it out when it started getting warm and it just started growing and producing tomatoes. So I'm gonna do the same thing this year. Now I don't know if I'll do like maybe, I might do 2, maybe 3. I don't know yet. But I'm gonna be taking these off because these do have to come out very soon. Look at that, I didn't see this one down here. Look at how pretty that is. Hopefully it'll start to blush. And that one too. These are my last tomato plants, minus the little tiny Tims down by the GREENSTALK that I've shown before. Those have a ton of little baby tomatoes. Well, friends, thanks so much for going on another garden tour and harvest with me. I'm really glad that I was able to show you everything that I've done as far as organizing and cleaning up the garden, because I don't know about you, but for me, I need to be able to have not just organized spaces, but I need to be able to be functional in my garden. And so that's what I was trying to do. And I hope that it encouraged or inspired you in some way. But let's see what we got today. Okay, so you guys, I am so excited about the jicama, and I might be pronouncing that wrong, but oh my goodness. I grew these last year, and I went ahead and tried them this year, and these are way bigger than last year's, which means they do very well in buckets. So I could not be more excited about those. So we definitely got more green beans. We got some jalapeno peppers. We got 1 tomato. And then we've got a whole bunch of mix of peppers here. And we also got a couple of more serranos, not a whole lot. It's getting colder out, so I'm grateful for whatever we got. I already have, I think, about 1.5 gallons of serranos frozen to use for something, so I couldn't be more excited. So friends, thanks so much for stopping by, and I really look forward to seeing you all next time. And remember, friends, be encouraged, and always stay inspired. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye.